Welcome to the version 1 SAM Teams series of short fireside chats. My name is Jason Pepper and I will be joined in these sessions by my colleague Brian Lavelle. In each of these videos we will take a few minutes to talk about all things software asset management and license optimization and highlight some of the license impacts caused by typical business compelling events or change. In this chat we'll take a look at the critical elements to consider and plan for on the run-up to the expiry or renewal of your enterprise software contract.
So in these fireside chats over the last few weeks, we've been talking about situations where you try to avoid spend and reduce spend and so on. But in those circumstances where you've got an enterprise agreement and it's about to renew, what kind of problems might customers experience there?
So one of the main problems is not giving it the long-term attention that it needs. Because what we find is that with a lot of these agreements, it's a 12 to 18 month process to get to a point of either renewal or declaration, depending on what type of agreement it is. But it tends to be a massive spend. It's a huge investment from a customer point of view. And what you don't want to do is you don't want to go into the negotiation into that on the back foot, and on the back foot means not having all of the information to hand.
Right.
Because normally, we'll say if you take an Oracle ULA, for example, an unlimited agreement, the way Oracle work out the costing for those is they look at what they think your usage is going to be over a period of time, and that becomes monetized and a discount's applied, etc., etc. So if you can't accurately provide a picture of what your usage is going to look like, then their version of it kind of becomes the truth, and that becomes a negotiation point. If they say, we think you're going to use 1,000 licenses, you're negotiating from 1,000 down.
Yeah.
If you say, we've used 450 over the last year, our plan for growth over the next 3 years is this, we're planning to get to a point of 700, that's a much stronger position to be in. So that's one of the main things that we always talk to customers about, is making sure you're in a position of strength when it comes to looking at these. The other key thing with it is that they're very confusing. They're big, expensive agreements, and they have a lot of stuff involved in the contractual paperwork side of it, the legal entities that are in it, the type of licenses you can use, where you can use them, how you can use them, what the declaration needs to look like. There's a whole load of stuff. And a lot of them do include things that say, for example, you need to give us information on what you've used over the 12 months previous to the declaration time. So that means that for you to come out of that agreement accurately, you need to be in the right position 12 months beforehand.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the big takeaway from it is, it's a long-term thing. It's something that needs to be looked at early,
right,
rather than, if you've been contacted by the vendor about its renewal time, you're probably too late to kind of do anything clever at that point. So yeah, earlier the better is the way forward.
Okay. So from a kind of actions that a customer can do, it's start to manage it early.
Yeah.
Is there anything else?
So it's understanding your estate now, so understand what you're using, how you're using it, understand your future requirements, because that has an impact as well on, do we need this again? So do we need another period of unlimited usage, whether that's because of acquisition plans that we have, transformation plans we have, whatever it is, or could we be in a position to confidently say, if we do this and declare we're going to be safe for the next 3 years because we know we're not going to need to do anything. If you're on the Microsoft side, there's options around cloud options, there's different options around buying outside of an enterprise agreement, where you say, right, well, maybe 80% of that we want to keep within an EA because it's the right thing for us. The other 20% could be a CSP conversation, so it could be something that's more flexible. But again, the only way to get to these is to get that first position of, we know where we are, we know where we're going from, because if you don't, then saying, well, we could maybe reduce some of it is kind of pointless, because it could be a case of saying, we'll take 20% of it away and move to CSP, so we're more flexible, we're happy with that. But over the period of time, that expands and that becomes 40% rather than 20. So now you're overspending what you could have got in a private EA.
Yeah.
So again, like I said, it's a common theme in pretty much everything we discuss is understand where you are right now, understand where you want to go, and what's the license implication from here to there.
Right. So forewarned is forearmed.
Yeah, exactly.
And so what kinds of benefits can customers gain from being in that position of knowledge?
So financial is the big one. If you take the two different options, so a ULA from Oracle, when it gets to the end of that term, you can either renew it, which is basically buy a new one, or you can declare it, which is have no more spend other than your current support and maintenance. So that's a big thing. If you're talking about a £2, £3, £4 million ULA, if you can put yourself into a position where you don't need to spend that again, that's a huge saving from a customer point of view. That has a massive impact on budgets. But again, the only safe way to do that is to be sure that when we do this, in 9 months' time, nobody's going to come to us and say, actually, I have a huge project that I'm going to need X number of licenses for. And on the Microsoft side, it's looking at that kind of EA versus CSP conversation. So how much of it do we need definitive? We know we're going to use it over the period of time. We're going to lock in the pricing. That's great. The other part of it that's more flexible that we think is going to scale up for 3 months of the year because it's our busiest period, and then it's going to go back down for 9 months. There's options of doing that, which again just reduce your cost. So it's a big area. As much as from a vendor point of view, it's a big commercial conversation. From a customer point of view, it's a big opportunity to reduce your cost going forward.
Right. Great. It sounds complicated, but I think it sounds to me like a bit of investment.
Yeah.
And engagement over time is going to reap you a lot of benefits.
It is. It's like I said, it's given it the attention that the size of investment you made warrants, and that's it really. It's not a case of spending that much money and leaving it. It's a case of we want to get the most out of that money, and what we need to do is we need to spend a bit of time managing and getting it right.
Great. Thanks.
No worries.
This fireside chat is part of a series of chats covering a wide range of license topics, which you can find at our SAM YouTube playlist below. You can also review our content on LinkedIn by using the hashtag SAMVideoChat. Finally, if you have a license concern or would like to understand how your IT project impacts your enterprise licensing, please contact us for an initial complimentary consultation at www.version1.com/contact. Thank you.